Hi, welcome to the Van Build once again for another episode. This one's episode 15, plumbing. Today I'm making some brackets to hold the water tanks. These are the two water tanks. The top one is for the grey water, which is about 44 litres, and the bottom one is the main water tank, which is 110 litres. The brackets are going to be made out of 50 by 4mm galvanised plate steel. It cost me about $45 for a 6-metre length, compared to a pair on eBay, which is about $70. These are the brackets I made. Took me about half a day to bend them. This is a cleaner that I will be using to clean the surfaces, and once I've done that, I will come back. I will now be adding this spray adhesive to the inside of the three edges of each of the brackets, because I will then be gluing some 50 by 8mm rubber that I purchased from Clark Rubber. First, cut the lengths that you require for each bracket. Now the longer ones. Once you've got your rubbers cut, then it's time to spray the adhesive on and put the rubber together. I just finished spraying the glue or adhesive onto all the parts. Have to wait for up to 15 minutes or thereabouts. Probably wait for about 10 minutes before it's glued, and hopefully it should be done. Here are the brackets completed, with the rubber put on the three sides that will be making contact with the water tanks. They don't have to be spot on, so you may have to fiddle it around a little bit to make them tough. Well, It's time to put this in the side of the van. Yes, you guessed it, it's the water tank filler from outside. And that little hole on the top is a breather, both very important. So let's have a look where it's going to go. This is where it's going to go. If you look down there, you'll see a mark that says wall. That tells me where the bed is going to be finishing. The water pump, or the water pump, the grey water and the drinking water tanks are going to be just over this side, all the way back to the door. Okay, but one step first, let's put the mark that out and take it from there. What we need to do first is find out the distance between here and here, drill a hole on the side of the van, then give it a bead of sealant or Sikaflex Pro all the way around there, then push it in the hole, and then using those 3 holes, put some screws in, which I will be using these stainless steel ones, self-tapping screws, after I put a pilot hole in. What I've done is I drilled a little pilot hole and I scribed, I think it's about 85mm diameter around. I scratched the surface so I could see where I'm going, and then what I did, I used a, where is it, there you go, hole saw to cut most of it out like this, and then I used a set of green tin snips, or red, depending on whether you're left or right handed, and you'll see right up close some little marks. That's where I was sticking away at it, but now I can put it in there easy now, put some elastic around it, put 3 pilot holes, which I'm going to do next and show you, and take it from there. Don't forget, we have to paint that surface now so we can cover up the bare metal so it doesn't rust. When you've painted the edge, just drill 3 pilot holes by putting the component in there with a pencil, mark the holes, and just go a little bit smaller than the screws themselves. This is the piece of steel from the van that I got out when I did the window. What I done is I used different size drills until I got one that grabbed without messing up the thread. Can't remember the size of it now, but just do that. Just keep stepping down the drills by about 0.2 until you get a good cut on the screw and it doesn't shear when you get to the end. That's what it's like finished. Now I'll show you what it's like on the inside. Don't worry too much about the white, that's all the paint. I came in here and just gave it a little piece of sealing all the way around, but right in the corner over there I've got to wait till it sets a bit more to make it really airtight. Although I did do the other side as well, but just to be safe, I will give it another coat tomorrow. I will be making the frame for this side of the bed, which will have the grey water tank, which you can see there, and the water tank, which will be on top of it. What I've done is I've just drilled a hole all the way through the ground to take the grey water out. Now it's time to build up the frame a little bit. I will be spraying some anti-rust underneath the van to take that, as I've made a hole which needs patching up. I had trouble putting the grey water tank base plate on because I had to remove one of the top plates to get it past the studs. No big drama though. I thought it was more important to get nice surface area to support it, although the grey water tank's going to be practically empty all the time anyway. I'm going to be doing a little bit of plumbing for the waste grey water going through this hole. That little bar down the right down the bottom is the suspension, but I'll show you how I'm going to get over that. That's where the pipe's going to come down to that suspension bar. They go under it, and then at the end it will be bolted to this plate here. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that now. I have a piece of aluminium angle that I salvaged from the bed. Now this nut rivet set. You may or may not have used these before, but you drill a hole, put one of those inserts in, and then adjust the tool, then squeeze it like a rivet, and it swages over the other end, so you can put a bolt in. In this case it will be bolting that aluminium plate. The first thing you should do is open up the packet and get used to how it all goes together. Once you've done it once, it's easy. The main thing to remember is right on the edge here, you've got it's just come through. Don't have it too far back, that black piece here, because you could shear the thread. So turn it and adjust it so the thread just poking through, okay? And then I'll show you underneath the band what to do. I'm using a 6mm bolt, so I had to drill a hole 9mm. Drill one hole, then put one of those rivets in, and then I bolted the plate to it, got it square, and I spotted through the second hole. You can see the large hole, the very first one I've done, and then I used a much smaller drill, drilled through there, bolted that aluminium plate to the band, and then spotted through the steel. You may ask what kind of drill would be the best one. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just joking. What I'd normally do is I just grind my drill bits up just so you can see that kind of a point. And good thing about it, it cuts on the outside diameter of the hole, and then it doesn't leave a big burr or whatever in a place that you can't get to. So just bear that in mind. I don't know what you call that drill, but I've been doing it for decades. That's the aluminium plate bolted to the car now. It's only temporary because I've got to put some clamps on the other side, and it's easier to do that with it off. Okay, I've done the grey water tank is installed and tested. Going through the drawers, and it comes through a little compartment that I've managed to create here into a couple of elbows straight along there with a couple of cable ties in case I need to get it off, and then it goes at the back. I'll show you without breaking my neck. Down here comes out of the tank down through that hole that I said. Now we take around, trip around here, you'll now see the grey water that is connected the other day, which has the valve just behind the mudguard. Couldn't put it anywhere else, but it's got to be turned or closed when you're going to a national park. So think of others, and we'll all have a great time. I've got one more little piece to put right underneath there to finish basically this section off. It doesn't really look much, but every little space helps in this van build. And what I've done here, I made a bit of a glue. I cut the whole length off, so I had to screw another little piece on to stop anything hitting that pipe here. So and I also found a little piece I can use to little piece of area. Okay, I just laid some lino down underneath the grey water tank. Now I've got a sheet of 12mm ply and I'm laying out the water pump and the water tank with a couple of those brackets that I made earlier, just to get the layout right and making sure nothing goes wrong. Just finished the final piece of the floor, putting some vinyl down. Also I wired up the motor for the water pump and put some more vinyl down here along that place. Looking good. I've just done the final arranging of the water tank. What you will see is a little block of wood there. I'm going to have a one on the end and one on the other side there. And I've also cut the frame to look after the movement of the tank. I've also made this little piece too. What we're trying to do is stop any of the 6 degrees of freedom. Those who don't know what that is, it's all the different movements that you can move up, down, left, right. I will be putting a sheet of lino down now, so if there's any water it will rest on the lino, and I should be turning up the edges all the way around to capture any water, just in case something goes wrong. And then I can take care of the plumbing up of the water pump, which is going to be there, and just join it up to the inlet. And that one is to fill up the water tank to here, and that little pipe there is the breathing valve that goes there. All good stuff. I sorted out the plumbing pipe for the toilet. As you can see, I put a cable tie up there to keep it well away from the compartment, because it was always hanging down low. Okay, I've just about finished the plumbing. I'll go through it very quickly. There's 2 pipes here, one to feed, the big one to feed the water tank, and the little one is the breather valve. And then leaving that blue switch opened, the water will come through here through a cleaner, or sieve, or whatever you like to call it, to the main pump. And then the pump goes through these holes and just at the bottom now. If the pipes lead through the drawers, well away from the drawers, I may add, to the little pipe. One goes straight up to the sink, and the other one moves a little bit further and around the corner to the toilet. As you may know from experience, that I've already said that I will be using this as an inspection to make sure that there's no leaks before I put the insulation up. And then the water one for drinking goes up to the other sink. Now it's just common fact that you take the grey water out, back through there to the grey water tank. I did forget to tell you one important thing to do, and that is put some sealant, Celastic or whatever, around the hole where the water pipe is, because you don't want it rattling in the van when you're driving along. I didn't have to do these ones because it's such a rigid pipe. Okay, so that should be okay. Next, it's time to try it all out. Listen out for the pump. not too bad. I've heard worse. And now we go in through here to the wash basin. Lovely. And that's just about it for the plumbing. I almost forgot about the toilet flush. There you go. Well, that concludes episode 15 of the plumbing. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to let me know. And if you like it, give us a big thumbs up. And I'll see you on the next episode.